Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. We are from Group 9 and we want to present material about educational technology and other learning resources. The member of this group is Arifatul Amalinda, Hanania Azhari, Rizki Rindiani, and Handini Retrisya Dasanggita. This is the outline of the material that we will explain. There are technology pyramid, the students themselves, object, picture, and things, the course book, ways of showing, ways of listening, ways of finding out, practicing language on the and on CD-ROM, ways of composing, virtual learning from emails to simulated environment, and the last is 6th question. The first is technology pyramid. Jill and Charles Hadfield represent these differing realities in a reverse pyramid of research. In a world in which the pace of technology change is breathtakingly fast, so that between the writing and publishing of this book, new technology will have been produced that most of us are as yet unaware of. It seems that being the bottom of the pyramid is likely to be a bar to language learning. If you see around the world, there are resources that support the learning process. In some classrooms, there are fixed data projector, interactive whiteboard, built-in speaker, computer with internet access, or Google to find anything out. In many private language schools, there are whiteboard, overhead projector, and a tape recorder. While there are also schools that only have a whiteboard or blackboard, which is often in not good condition. Also, there is no photocopier, and maybe hopefully there is an exercise book. The most importantly, the students themselves will use a resource material, whether as participants in quizzes about the real world, as informant in discussion about families, or as imaginers of river scenes based on teacher description. The internal world of student is the richest, deepest sea of gold that you have. Indeed, Jill and Charles Hadfield proposed turning the pyramid the other way up. That's why we can see the people at the top of the pyramid. With minimal resource or even no resource, there is something you can do for the learning process. For example, we can hang up pictures for students to work by using washing line and clothes page, telling a story based on things around, and many more. We have to remember that those are tools to help us in any learning approach and technique, not as learning methodology. Next is the students themselves. The most useful resource in the classroom are the students themselves. Through their thought and experience, they bring the outside world into the room. And this is a powerful resource for us to draw on. For example, in young learner classes, we can get them to be living clocks. They have to demonstrate the time with their arms, and the other students have to say what the time is. Second, we can also get them to stand in line in the order of their birthday or in the order of the distance they live from the school. Third, they can be made to stand in the alphabetical order of their middle names or in the order of the name of another member of their family, and etc. Fourth, students can elect one of their members to be a class robot. The other tell him or her what to do, and students can mime and act out words and praise. For example, hurry up, watch out, for the rest of the class to guess. And the last, they can perform dialogue taking on the personality of some of the other character the other student know, and the rest of the class have to guess who they are. Next is object, picture, and things. A range of objects, picture, card, and other things such as questionnaire words can be used for presenting, manipulating language, and involving students in any activities. The first one is realia. Using realia is helpful for teaching the meaning of the word or for stimulating students' activity. Objects that are intrinsically interesting can provide a good starting point for a variety of language, work, and communication activities. The example of the object is a coin, a ring, a paperclip, an elastic band, a photo frame, and many more. And the example of activities are: the first is group work, which is each group share autobiographies. Students put into some groups, and each group pick one object from a bag without looking in the bag. Every member of group write a sentence about the object and then share it to make the object autobiography and read it to the other group. The second is asking students to speculate and assign various explanations about an object. The student asked to speculate the function of an obscure object or explain it. The class can vote for the best idea. If there is more than one object, students can find the similarities of the object or create stories of them. For example, pick the object to put in capsule time or bring it to the desert island. Next is question and answer based on the student who get the object randomly. For example, softball. If the teacher or students want to ask question or give an answer to someone, they can throw the softball to that person, then the student can pass it on the other student. The next is picture. Picture can be on the form of flashcard, large wall picture, cue card, photograph, or illustration, project slide, image from an overhead projector, and project computer image. Also, teacher can draw picture on the board to help with explanation and language work. There are 6 ways to use this kind of the picture. The first is drills. It is appropriately used for picture, especially this card and larger wall picture. Teacher hold up a flashcard before nominating a student and getting a response. Then, we hold up another one, nominate a different student, and so on. It is useful for drilling grammar items, for cueing different sentences, and practicing vocabulary. While a larger wall picture used to point to a detail of a picture and get the student's response. For example, large street map to practice vocabulary and giving direction. Next is communication games. The activities that we can do with students are describe and draw, and also creative writing. Describe and draw activity is an activity where a student describes a picture and the partner has to draw that picture without looking at it. Or the students put into some groups to show a different stage picture of history in each of group. Then one member from each the group put into new group to discuss the right stage of the picture of the history. Next is understanding. It is for the presenting and checking of meaning and also students' understanding. For example, teacher can use a picture of plane to explain the word of plane Or to check the student understanding, the teacher can ask students to choose the picture according to the reading text or listening passage. Okay, next is ornamentation. It makes work more appealing. For example, a reading text will be adorned by a photograph. It can enhance the text, giving the students an extra visual dimension to what they are reading. Next is prediction. It makes students predict what is coming next in a lesson and try to guess what it shows. After predict and guess, the student listen an audio or read a text to check it whether they are right or wrong. And the last is discussion. It can stimulate question and use for creative language use. For example, there is some picture of photographic and the student become a judge of photographic competition. So, the question that will be appear may be, what is it showing? How does it make you feel? Is the picture a work of art? And many more. Then, the students choose the best picture with the reason why they choose that picture. Or, in other activities, we can ask students to describe a picture, find the dialogue on the picture, and etc. The third is cards. Cards can range from carefully prepared pieces of thick paper, which have been laminated to make them into a reusable research, to small strip of paper, which the teacher brings in for one lesson only. There are 3 ways to use cards that are especially worth mentioning. The first is matching and ordering. Cards are especially good for matching question and answer or 2 halves of a sentence. We can also use cards to order words into sentence or to put the line of a poem in order. Using cards in this way is especially good for kinesthetic learner. For example, the student can match the picture on their desk or move around the classroom looking for their pairs. It can be on the basis of topic, lexis, or grammatical construction. And next is selecting. If we want students to speak on the spot or use particular word or phrase in a conversation or in a sentence. For example, we can write words on separated cards and face down it. Then, students pick the card and create a sentence using the word. Or in other activity, we can ask students to pick 3 until 4 cards to put that word in a story. Or in other way, students can describe the word on the picture. So, that's enough explanation for me. The next explanation will continue by my friend, Handini.
Okay, my name is Handini Retrisya Dasanggita. I will continue my friend's explanation about objects, pictures, and things. The next is card games. There are as many card game possibilities in language learning as there are in real life. We can turn the card selection into a game by introducing a competitive element, having students in pairs play against each other or against other pairs. A simple vocabulary game can be played in which students have cards with pictures one on one side and words on the other. The third is questionnaire roads. Originally, questionnaire roads designed for maths teaching. The roads can be used to demonstrate word stress. The roads can be used to assign a word of or phrase to each of, say, 5 roads, and the student then have to put them in the right order. Roads can be used to teach proposition, and questionnaire roads are also useful for demonstration colors, of course, comparatives, superlatives, and a whole range of other semantic and synthetic areas, particularly with people who respond well to visual or kinesthetic activity. And the next is the coursebook. There are benefits and restrictions of coursebook. The first one is benefit. The coursebook prepared to over a coherent syllabus, satisfactory language control, motivating text, audio cassettes or CDs, and other accessories such as video or DVD material, CD-ROMs, and extra resource material. They are often attractively presented. They provide teachers under pressure with the reassurance. They come with detailed teacher's guides, which not only provide procedures for the lessons in the children's book, but also offer suggestions and alternatives, extra activities, and resources. They also provide material which students can look back at for revision, and at their best, their visual and topic appeal can have a powerfully engaging effect. And the next is the restriction of the coursebook. Little John, 1998, explained that coursebook inappropriately imposed learning style and content on classes and teachers alike, appearing to be fait accompli over which they can have little control. And in their choice of topics, coursebooks can sometimes be bland or culturally inappropriate. One solution to the perceived disadvantages of coursebook is to do without them altogether, to use a do-it-yourself approach. Such an approach is extremely attractive. It can offer students a dynamic and varied program. If they can see its relevance to their own needs, it will greatly enhance their motivation and their trust in what they are being asked to do. In order for the DIY approach to be successful, teachers need access to a wide range of material, from coursebooks and videos to magazines, novels, encyclopedias, publicity brochures, and the internet. The next is using coursebook. The most important aspect of coursebook use is for teachers to try to engage students with the content they are going to be dealing with. Many teachers want to use their coursebook as a kind of springboard for their lessons, rather than as a manual to be slavishly followed. In other words, while they base much of their teaching on the contents of the coursebook, they reserve the right to decide when and how to use its constituent parts. There are two main ways they can do this. The first one is omit and replace. The first decision we have to make is whether to use a particular coursebook lesson or not. If do not use a particular coursebook lessons, there are two possible course of action. The first is just to omit the lessons altogether because it does not teach anything fundamentally necessary and it is not especially interesting. When, however, the language or topic area in question is improving, We will have to replace the coursebook lessons with our own preferred alternative. The next is to change or not to change. When using a coursebook lessons, we will use it but change it to more appropriate for the student. If the material is not very substantial, we might add something to it after a reading text or additional language practice. We might rewrite an exercise, replace one activity or text with something else, reorder the activities within lessons, or even reorder lessons or within lessons. However, it is important to remember that students need to be able to see a concurrent pattern to what we are doing and understand our reasons for change. So the next part is ways of showing. Over the years, technology has changed the way that teachers and students are able to show each other things, or one of the most important functions of classroom equipment. So there are four major presentation aids. The first is the board. The most versatile piece of classroom teaching equipment is the board. Whether this is one of the more traditional chart desk variety, a whiteboard written on with marker pens, or an IWP board provide a motivating focal point during whole class grouping. We can use boards for a variety of different purposes. The first is notepad. Teachers frequently write things up on the boards as these come up during the lessons. For example, when we write up a word on a board, we can show how that word is stressed so that students can see and hear the word at the same time. We can sketch in intonation, tones, or underline feature of spelling too. The second is explanation aid. Boards can be used for explanation too. For example, we can show the relationship between an affirmative sentence and a question by drawing connection arrows. We can show where words go in a sentence by indicating the best position diagrammatically, or we can write up phonemic symbol or draw diagrams of the mouth to show how a word or sound is pronounced. The third is picture frame. Boards can be used for drawing pictures. Of course, the only limitation being our artistic ability. But even those who are not artistically gifted can usually draw a sad face and a happy face. They can produce stickmen sitting down and running, or make an attempt at a bus or a car. This can be done whenever it is required. Because the board is always there, helping students to understand concept and understand the words. Okay, the fourth is public workbook. A typical procedure is to write up fill-in sentence or sentence transformation items, for example, and have individual students come up to the board and write a fill-in item or a transform sentence. Teachers sometimes write mistakes they have observed in a creative language activity on the board. They can ask class members who think they know how to correct them to come up and have a clue. And the next is game board. There are a number of games that can be played, such as with notes and crosses, or also called tic-tac-toe. For example, teachers can draw nine-box frame and write different words and categories in each box. Teams have to make sentence or question with the words, and if they get them right, they can put their symbol on the square to draw their winning straight line. A popular spelling game involves two teams who start off with the same word. Each team has half the board. They have to fill up their side with as many words as possible. But each new word has to start with the last letter of the words before. At the end of a given period of time, the team with the largest number of correct words is the winner. And the last is notice board. Teachers and students can display things on boards, picture, poster, announcement, charts, and etc. It is especially useful if the boards are metallic so that magnets can be used.
Hello, my name is Arifatul Amalinda NS, and I will explain about the second point of ways of showing. It is the overhead projector or OHP. So, with OHP, we can show whole text or grammar exercises, pictures, diagrams, or students' writing, because transparencies can be put through a photocopier or printed from any computer, and they can be of very high quality. And then one of major advantages of the overhead projector is that we don't have to show everything on an OHP all at once. By covering some of the transparency with piece of card or paper, we can blank out what we don't want the student see. And then we can put a text with blanks on the OHP and then lay a blank transparency on top of it so that students using OHP pens can come up and write in what they think should go there. And then overhead projectors are extremely versatile, but they can pose some problems. Okay, next. And then the third point of ways of showing is the flip chart. Flip charts are very useful for making notes, recording the main points in a group discussion, amending and changing points, and kept for future reference. Also, it's relatively cheap and demand no technical expertise. Flip charts work best in two particular situations. The first, a teacher, group leader or group scribe stands at the flip chart and records the points that are being made. The participants, because they can see what is being written up, can then ask for changes to be made. And then, when possible, it is ideal if groups can each have flip charts of their own. When an activity is finished, students can walk around the room seeing what the different groups has written. And then the second is flip charts can also be posted at different points in the room, each flip chart standing for a topic or a point of view. Okay, next. The fourth topic of ways of showing is computer-based presentation technology. So, computer have changed the world of classroom presentation. The two crucial pieces of hardware are a computer and a data projector. Anything that is on our computer screen can be shown to the whole class using a data projector to put up an enlarged version of it on a screen or whiteboard. Using data projector and computer, all the class can see a word process task at the same time, or we can project a picture, diagram, or map. For example, software PowerPoint offers an option where we can mix text and visual with audio or video tracks so that pictures can dissolve or fly onto and off the screen, and music, speech, and film can be integrated into the presentation. And then, next, one of the major technological developments in the last few years has been the interactive whiteboard, the IWB. This has the same properties as a computer hooked up to a data projector, but it has three major extra advantages. The first, teachers and students can write on the board which the image are being projected onto, and they can manipulate image on the board with the use of special pens or even with nothing but then fingers. The pen or finger thus acts as a kind of computer mouse. Second, what appears on the board, just like the screen of a computer, can be saved or printed so that anything written up or being shown there can be looked at again. The third, enthusiasts for IWBs point to this extraordinary facility and to other tricks, such as the ability to mask parts of the board and gradually reveal information. Next. Okay, the next topic is ways of listening. In the past, the way to practice listening skills was using a tape recorder and CD player. Tape recorders are used because versatile, cheap, and efficient rewind and fast forward buttons and tape counters. They are extremely easy to use. Then CD player often bulkier and have counter systems that are sometimes more difficult to use efficiently than those of older tape recorders models. And recorded material is now available, as is video material, in digital formats such as WEV and MP3. We can play material directly from computers and MP3 players. Also can access to listenings, especially for individual listeners. Teachers and students can go, for example, to podcast.net and search the site for ESL material. A search engine like Google will also enable us to find a whole variety of ESL and general podcast material. And then the next topic is ways of finding out. The first is dictionaries. Students or we can access dictionaries in book form, on CD-ROMs, using small electronic handset, and on the web. Okay, let's take a look at this in turn. The first is paper dictionaries. Now they are colorful and laid out in a way that makes issues such as frequency, collocation, different meanings, pronunciation, and etc. extremely clear. The past paper dictionary are monochrome with various codes to denote different aspects of meaning, while modern learners' bilingual dictionaries are considerably more sophisticated. We can take a look at this picture. Okay, next. The next is monolingual learners dictionaries or MLDs, which are designed for students who can generally manage without bilingual dictionaries, use a special defining vocabulary, i.e. for the words used in the definition, which explain meanings in clear and simple terms. They also give a wealth of information as in the first part of the entry for hospital. We can take a look at the picture. Okay, next. The second is CD-ROMs. CD-ROMs can include a significantly greater amount of information, including audio material, and can type in a word or phrase and it will appear on the screen together with features such as collocation information, more corpus examples, a phrase store, and even thesaurus-type word stores. Students can also hear the words being spoken and perhaps record themselves to compare with the spoken original. And then the third is electronic pocket dictionaries. Small screens mean that users are never going to get any of the incidental or insightful and frequently unexpected detail that we get when we look at a dictionary page or computer screen. Electronic dictionaries have bigger screens and more than one dictionary is often included. Users can hear the words being spoken too, and there are often extras such as spell checkers, currency converters, and etc. And the last one is online dictionaries. Many dictionaries are not freely available online, although users may have to go through a complex registration process to be granted access, have clear definitions, useful information, and can hear the words being spoken. Okay, I think that's all from me, and the next point will explain by my friend. Thank you.
Okay, I'm Rizki Rindiani. I will continue explain about my friend. Yes, way of the finding out. Number two, confidential. Confidential search. Large corpora of link for a word and a word strings that we want to know about. It is especially useful for students and teachers who want to do word research. We can also use the design material. For example, we could print off a concordance but blank out the search word. The student have to guess what the word is. We could ask student to predicate the most common word, then come before and after the search word, and then get them to look at the confidence line to see if they were right. And then number three, searching the internet. The internet is the greatest source of information not in book. We can share anything in the internet, but we have to use specific keyword. Mm, if it isn't specific, the result will be fine. Two particular kind of the sheet are worth talking about in the material model more detail. Um, Number one is using encyclopedia. Using encyclopedias, there are a number of encyclopedia sites and other information sites, such as biography.com, wikipedia.com, encyclopedia.com, britannica.com on the internet. They can be asked to locate the capital city, population, main language, main cities, economy, geography, sport, political system, and etc. Okay, next, web quiet. Web quiet is a particular type of information is provided by a kind of the internet-based extended project. There are four parts based on web quiet designed by Philip Beans as practicing language on the internet and on schedule. There are various sites available on the internet for people to practice their language skills. Some are connected with a school or organization and need the user to register for the site, while others are open to the public. On CD-ROM, there is additional practice material. Some of the materials and linked to a certain coursebook, while other and are standalone. It is not associated with any particular program. Why of the conversation? There are several common methods of creating material by and for student and the teacher. Uh, the next is word processing and then word editing. In a classroom situation where group of the writer are involved in a jam conversation, we can group the student around a clip card and have them work together with one student acting as script. However, when students for together, when students working in a group are using word processing software, anyone can over and acquire and cute chance without causing a narrative crossing out or parsing the script to the through a speech or sheet or paper away and start again. Next, Moshball, chat, and blogging. A teacher usually encourage their students to write pen pal in other countries before computer. This was done to provide students with both relevant and memorable English learning experiences, as well as to help them appreciate other cultures around the world. Pample have now morphed into gospel and K-pop. Then students can also be involved in chatting online, and the teacher can organize real-time chatting events using programs such as Google Talk and the MSG Message. All of this connectivity allows people to talk, whether or not they are geographically near each other. One of the most potent way of telling people what we are thinking and for sharing fact and even in our life. It is a weblog or blog. This is public diary which anyone can read. And next, authoring. The various sources that allow us to obtain software that allow us to create our own web-based material of great appeal to the teacher. The goal of such sheets is to allow teachers to enter or import their own content and then create a range of activities using the software offered. And then designing website. Web design is not nearly as complex as it is might seem. With professional software such as Macromedia, Dreamweaver, and Adobe Go Live makes them a bit daunting to the beginner. Microsoft Page, for example, it is reliably transformed. Virtual learning from email to simulated environment because teacher may make assessment, conduct conversation with the student, and give comment on the student work. Email is the easy way to organize teaching, learning material, and offering feedback to students using ID. The content of VLE can be stored on the website that is only accessible to the course participant. Some VLE also have blog and the chat room, but in real life and a message board where users can live comment and read what others have to say. VLE can be both and a variant of the system, including increasingly popular model as well as Blackboard and the first class. Okay, sixth question. The question able apply the question apply not just to the new technology, but also to the any new methodology, procedure, course book, or program that is offered to the teacher. Number one is what is the pedigree. Number two, who guides. Number three, why it is the best way to do this. Number four, does it pass the DAI test? Number five, what future possibilities does it open up? Number six is how can I make it